Hey, everybody, welcome to WCA Extra. This is our live desk streaming show, kicking off today around 9:15. Some new, kind of really interesting story here that our Calvin Cutler did yesterday, talking about new FAA rules and how that is impacting places like Beta Technologies. If you're familiar with the aircraft space, that is the electric aircraft maker. I really can't even call them planes here. But anyway, Calvin, good morning, and again, thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, John.
Absolutely. And as kind of I just alluded to, we've done a lot of stories on beta in the past, and it's almost a weird catch-22 we find ourselves in, is that they do make aircraft. It's like, are they planes? Are they helicopters? Like, what we kind of call them? And even now, that is kind of leading into story that you've done this week as far as new FAA rules coming down the pike, and how that is impacting a place like beta. So kind of just dive into that for me. This new classification and how that's going to kind of get the ball rolling as far as some of the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. And it's a pretty big deal, not just for Beta, but for the aerospace industry in Vermont writ large, right? When you think about helicopters, when you think about gliders, you think about airplanes, commercial aviation, civil aviation. There's really complex and numerous rules and regulations that apply to each one, and we're talking rules surrounding training, surrounding how many people can you fly with? What are the regulations surrounding what weather can you fly in, conditions, maintenance, upkeep, licensing, regulation. I mean, everything under the sun in terms of operating an aircraft and maintaining an aircraft. These are all rules that are very strictly enforced for both planes and helicopters and others. But what's interesting about the type of aircraft that Beta has been manufacturing, it's a vertical takeoff and landing, a VTOL, VTOL, and essentially it takes off like a helicopter and then flies like an airplane. And we just haven't necessarily, from the federal government, there hasn't been any clarity or understanding of like what does it take, who trains, what do you need for training, how are they regulated in the airspace, that type of thing. And so just this week the FAA signed off on rules which essentially now VTOL aircraft, they're now called power lift aircraft. They are now in federal statute, which is a really big deal for this type of machine, making it not just to the commercial marketplace, but potentially maybe even the civilian marketplace years down the road. It's a really big step forward.
Yeah, and that kind of leads to my next point. I was going through this, I was looking at your story online and some of the comments on our Facebook and all that, and a lot of people have alluded to the Jetsons or something, where it's basically you're getting these flying taxis, flying cars, where this could be a whole different, or a whole new kind of ushering in a whole new era of how we use aircraft. But I kind of going off, piggybacking off that as well. Why is it such a big deal? I mean, this is one of those first regulations, correct me if I'm wrong, since the almost World War II, around that time, right? When
helicopters came on the scene. This is the first time they've created a new classification of aircraft since the 1940s with helicopters. And I mean, it's a big deal in two ways, right? You just talked about the first one with the Jetsons and sort of what will the future of transportation look like? Can you get your Uber Eats and your DoorDash and your Amazon packages delivered via air? Can you instead of the possibilities are endless here, right? From commercial, like, can you get a taxi that comes and picks you up at your house in South Burlington and flies you to Hanover, New Hampshire for dinner and then flies you back in really reducing travel times? Also shipping packages and commerce and mail. I mean, there's the commerce side of things, and then there's also potentially years down the road personal transportation. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but why this is such a big deal too is these are electric, and in theory, you'd be able to operate one of these in a dense urban area. Unlike, planes, you don't need a landing strip. With helicopters, they're a lot more noisy and taking a helicopter from in urban areas can be challenging.
It's not always fuel
There's
efficient either.
a real question of like,
Yeah.
would you be able to have a VTOL aircraft in your backyard or down the street from you that you go and there's a launch pad and you take it off?
Yeah.
And so there's that piece to it. But the other piece too, bringing it back home to Vermont, this is of course a really big deal for Beta, who's a major employer in the area, a really big company, and they are growing. But also you look downstream of
Yeah.
Beta, and there's dozens of companies. I'm thinking Collins Aerospace. There's
GE.
many manufacturers and employers in Vermont that make parts for not just VTOL aircraft, but others, for Boeing and Airbus,
Right,
and others. And those are also, this new regulation is going to help create jobs downstream as well.
No, absolutely, and I think that was kind of where I wanted to touch on last, especially, which is like, hey, we've talked a lot about Beta, but again, it can be a huge economic driver down the road, because even if they don't have it as established as them, this is the future. Then obviously everyone's going to kind of jump on that train and take it. So, but yeah, definitely really really interesting stuff, and I can tell you firsthand, I've been to the airport a handful of times for whatever else, and it is hard to explain. Something that, is it a helicopter? Is it a plane? So it's, that'll be all something, especially as if or when that stuff kind of picks up, what we kind of call them. But anyway,
Yeah, we'll have to see.
we'll have to see. But anyway, Colin, thanks so much for shedding this light on this, and of course we'll run that in just a sec. And but we appreciate you stopping and chatting. So
Thank you very much, John. Appreciate
Cool.
it.
Well, have a good morning. Again, that was our Calvin Cutler there, kind of talking about some new rules coming from the FAA and how that can impact not only the mirrored version of myself there, only Beta, but companies and what it means for folks down the line across Vermont as well. So we'll pull that up in just a sec there.
This is another important hurdle for companies like Beta Technologies, which make all-electric aircraft that can take off and land vertically like a helicopter, but fly horizontally like an airplane. Beta has been looking to expand and serve a whole new demand for transport of goods and people, but they've been waiting on guidance from the federal government. New regulations this week outline rules and requirements for pilot training, certification, and operation of powered lift aircraft. This is the first time the FAA has created a category like this since the 1940s. In a statement, Beta leaders say, quote, "We applaud the FAA and their timely delivery of a safe path forward for pilot certification and operations of powered lift aircraft. We look forward to reviewing it in depth and working alongside our customers to operationalize it." Beta shared this photo with us of an FAA test pilot learning how to fly a Beta aircraft. Right now, Beta has been working in commercial and civil aviation. But with this rule change, the feds say this could open the door to future modes of travel, like air taxis. These new rules are an important step for jobs at Beta and in Vermont's aerospace industry, which could revolutionize what flight looks like in the future.
Definitely some exciting stuff there as well. Those changes, of course, from the FAA. And Peter, it'd be kind of nice to kind of just skip the traffic and zip to work, huh?
I mean, there's not much traffic when we're coming into work.
That's
but
true. That is true. But maybe in I'm thinking more like wintertime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess probably preparing a plane is a lot harder than.
I think it might
But
be.
clearing. I'm opting to do a pre-flight check instead of just clearing my car.
Instead of just scraping off the ice or whatever
Yeah.
is on your windshield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you just turn it on and go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, what you got for me?
We're talking about cooler weather. That
Yeah.
really is the big story. I wanted to show you satellite radar right now. Still talking about some clouds out there, especially across the far northern portions of the area. This, the leftover of the cold front that came through here through the course of the night last night. Think we get more sunshine going here as we head towards later today, but for now you can see most of us talking about pretty gray, cloudy start to our Thursday morning out there. Temperatures, they've been slowly coming down here through the course of the morning hours. As a matter of fact, when I I got into work earlier this morning at like 3:30 this morning, a lot of us were still in the 50s. Now we got 38 for Saranac Lake, and across the northern half of the area, we're generally talking temperatures right now in the mid to upper 40s, still hanging on to some 50s off to the south. But again, this is going to be the trend. Most of us looking at a whole lot cooler weather here as we head through the course of the day. As I mentioned, though, it does look like that sunshine starts to emerge here as we head into the early afternoon hours. I think for the most part, it's going to be a pretty bright second half of the day today, but that sunshine not going to do a whole lot to warm us up. We'll keep the clear skies going tonight into your day tomorrow. Again, plenty of sunshine on tap for your day on Friday. Does look like we start to get in on a few more clouds here as we head towards late tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow evening. Those clouds are part of another cold front that's going to begin to make its arrival here as we head through Friday night and into your day on Saturday. And once again, it looks like it makes us, even cooler here as we head into the second half of the weekend. For now, though, most of us are going to be talking temperatures here for the day today, or as we head towards this afternoon, in the upper 40s and low to mid 50s out there. Tomorrow and Saturday, temperatures hanging out right around where we should be for this time of year. But notice that cold front knocks down our temperatures for Sunday and Monday. Most of us probably going to be talking about daytime highs stuck in the 40s before we start to rebound just a bit here as we head into midweek next week. First layer forecast here for the rest of the day today. Again, temperatures out there this afternoon, most of us talking upper 40s and low to mid 50s out there. So a cooler day out there, but it does look like we start to get some of that sunshine going here into the afternoon hours tonight. Overnight lows, they'll fall back into the upper 20s and 30s. A clear and cooler night out there as a result, and into your day tomorrow. Got plenty of sunshine for your day on Friday, and it really is looking to be a pretty nice fall day tomorrow with temperatures in the mid to upper 50s and a few lower 60s off to the south as we head towards tomorrow afternoon. Again, as I mentioned, a few more clouds late tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow evening. That a part of the cold front that we'll see that could produce a few rain showers Friday night and into the day on Saturday. Again, that leaves us cooler for Sunday and Monday, talking daytime highs, generally in the 40s here for most of us. But notice, John, as we head towards Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, we start to creep back up just a bit. Yeah. Tuesday in the 50s. Wednesday, I think most of us probably back into the 60s.
Yeah, it's kind of a tug of war here of who's going to win, the fall or lingering summer.
Well, right now fall is winning it out, but I think as we head towards the middle and end of next week, we slowly start to inch back towards the 70s. So we'll see what happens.
That's nice. People got options here. Yep. I think that's the biggest part here. I think for me, it's like I can't gauge like how warm it's going to be at night.
I know.
You know? You in that same boat?
Last night was another night where I was, very warm at night, and I was like, well, I think the cold front's going to come through, and this should knock down the temperatures. It really didn't do a whole lot. No. I bet it's a lot cooler in my place now. Than when I left this morning, but.
I got to be a little tougher too. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's a little warm.
I know, but
anyway. I think that does it for us here on WCAX. Of course, Peter and I, a couple hours at noon. Of course, see all of our content at WCAX.com. And all of our evening shows as well. And debate right here tonight as well. Please tune in for that.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. So with that in mind, we'll let you guys go and see you in a couple hours.